everyone, welcome to my channel, Navigating My 20s, where I'm taking you through my journey of growing up. Currently, I'm 21 years old, I am in college, currently studying abroad, and I'm just talking about some random ideas that I have in my head as not only my education is increasing, but also my prefrontal cortex is developing. Hopefully you guys can relate to any of this, and let's get into it. Do you guys ever get that euphoric feeling of creativity, freedom, passion? When you're traveling, it seems like you're on the top of the world and you're just incredibly alive when you are able to go out, see the world, make new experiences, and especially when you're in warmer climates. I don't know about you guys, but when I am on vacation, when I'm traveling, especially when I'm in a place where there's a lot of sunlight, maybe there's a beach involved, I feel so much healthier as a person in both mind and body. In a way, I feel unstoppable because I'm in an area where I don't have to worry about any external factors such as deadlines, responding to emails, or just having that lingering feeling that I have something to get done. When's the last time you were placed in a situation like that? How did you feel? Do you want to get back into that state of mind? Well, hopefully today I can answer some of those questions as we deep dive into the topic of being on vacation and also how it relates to food. A couple weeks ago, it was my spring break. So me and my friends, we decided to go to a beachy town, beachy country in order to relax. While I was there though, I noticed a decrease in my hunger and an increase in appetite for more fresh, fruity foods. I remember looking through the menu at this really nice Italian place. And usually when you go to an Italian place, you want pasta, you want pizza, you want the works. But I found myself flipping through the pages of the menu and thinking that nothing was appetizing for me. What I ended up setting my eye on actually was a nice, hearty, healthy salad. I was shocked by this at first because usually I don't want to eat salad, especially on vacation, because I can make that at home. But then I got to thinking, am I craving this salad? Am I craving lighter foods because of the temperature outside, because it's hotter? I wish I could feel this way all year round. Let's be so real. It would be amazing to want to be able to eat healthy food without having to force yourself into eating that on a regular basis, especially during the winter. So I'm gonna try and see if there's any way to replicate that throughout the rest of the year and when you go back home from vacation to see if you can still maintain that active, healthy lifestyle. Now, my original hypothesis stems from the fact that people from sunnier climates, warmer climates, tend to be more active. Let's take Southern California, where I'm from, for example. A lot of people there on a Saturday morning, Sunday morning, you will find people running, biking, walking. And on top of that, you will see a lot of not fast food restaurants, but restaurants that cater more towards healthy eating. In a sense, you might think that living in Southern California ties to you automatically wanting to live a healthier, more active lifestyle. And yes, that could be induced by external peer pressure factors, but maybe it has something to do with the actual climate that you're in. According to the Psychology of Eating and Drinking by Logue, there was a study done that observed two groups of men in the US Army and their eating habits. One of them was located up in the Andean where it was colder, and then another group was located down in Africa where they had a warmer climate. What they found is that given the same amount of food available, the men who were up north in the cold weather were more likely to eat more food and to have more food intake than those in Africa in the warmer climate. Now, this can be tied back to a number of different things. Firstly, humans and warm-blooded animals, there's an inherent need to increase our body heat, our body temperature through eating. This is done with diet-induced thermogenesis. When we do eat food, we increase our metabolism, which of course releases heat in our body. Not only does this increase our body temperature, but this also increases our hormonal regulation. If humans who are in colder climates and colder weathers tend to eat more food, can we say the opposite about humans in warmer weathers? Maybe because when we're in a hotter climate, there's less need to increase our internal body temperature, which is why humans tend to eat a little bit less in the summer than in the winter. And what I mean by less is I mean less calorie dense foods. However, I found a contradiction in this when I was reading Effects of Heat on Appetite by Heater Herman. He did a study compiling a bunch of different research articles and papers to see if heat really did have an effect on humans and how they ate. What he gathered by talking to a lot of different shop owners and looking at data from shop owners, sales of ice cream actually increased in the summer, especially those more on street fronts rather than air-conditioned, regulated malls. While humans may tend to eat less in the heat, it seems that their appetite for colder, crunchier foods like ice cream, like salads, increases in that heat. In addition, some restaurant owners were found that when their air conditioning was out, when it became hotter inside their restaurants, they earned less revenue. So maybe we're drawn to foods that counteract our internal temperature to heat. Because we're hot in hot climates, maybe we want to eat colder food to cool ourselves off. No wonder I feel so much desire to eat hot soup and hot tea in the winter to increase my body temperature. Although this is an amazing scientific breakthrough, we can't automatically assume that because we are in hotter weather, because we are hotter, our hunger decreases. When in fact, our hunger kind of remains the same throughout our time. We need to supplement our ability to utilize energy. Another really interesting study by Kane Charlotte et al., I'm probably pronouncing that wrong, so I apologize, where they took a group of healthy lean adults and they exposed them to a high heat of 32 degrees Celsius for about 16 hours. What they found is while hunger cues did not change between the subjects who were in the hotter room, the 32 degrees Celsius room, they tended to crave or want less fatty food than the control group who was in the 22 degree Celsius room. You see, I thought this was interesting, especially because we just talked about how ice cream sales increase in the summer rather than in the winter, because ice cream is more high in fat. But maybe they're talking about food such as high fatty meats and lots of cheeses, because those are also high in fat. After reading this study, I was thinking to myself, maybe this is the reason why I craved that salad while I was on vacation. Maybe that's the reason why I didn't really want to eat those pizzas and I didn't want to eat those pastas, because I didn't want to feel this full, heavy feeling in my stomach. One other phenomena that we have on vacation that I think has an effect on how much we eat is our stress levels. Usually when we're out relaxing in the sun, tanning on the beach, which I know I love doing, we tend to get into this state of rest and relaxation. Of course, stress and the release of epinephrine in your body triggers your sympathetic nervous system, your fight or flight mode. So you do have these feelings of suppressed appetite and suppressed hunger because you're trying to conserve your energy to flee if you need to. However, when we're in the sun, we activate our parasympathetic nervous system, where it's more rest and digest. Now, let's compare that back into our normal everyday lives where we might be affected with a lot more stressors in our life. Firstly, I don't know about you, but sometimes I do end up stress eating, and there's actually a reason for that. I was reading a journal article by Drian Brown, again, I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing this wrong, that studied the acute stress and food-related reward activation in the brain while eating in the absence of hunger. What you wanted to decipher was if stress had any effect on our reward perception pathways when we're eating, and also if it affected how much food that we consumed. You see, what she found was pretty interesting. Apparently, stress decreases our food reward perception. In addition, subjects who are stress-induced tended to eat more food, especially those higher in proteins and carbohydrates, in order to get that full feeling, rather than subjects who were not stressed. Now, I'm wondering if those people who were under that specific stress, they did have higher epinephrine in their bodies, I wonder if they ate more because they wanted to feel that feeling of reward. Because stress reduces our reward perception, by eating food, we don't get the same effect that we would when we're in normal circumstances. And maybe that's why we tend to overeat, because we're trying to get that feeling that we're just not getting. And that could also be the reason why we just tend to eat less when we're on vacation. Imagine you're with your family, you're with your friends, and you guys make a reservation for a nice dinner. You look through the menu, the ambiance is perfect, the lights are dim in a correct way. You're just in a state of serenity, anticipation. You're in a state of happiness, and you cannot wait to get your food. when you do end up taking that first bite, what does it usually taste like? That's right. It usually tastes amazing and you love the way it makes you feel. That's the reward pathway in our brain working for us. We do not have any worry about what's happening in the world around us. We're right in the moment, we're present. We feel satisfied not only in our stomach, but we also feel satisfied in our mind. I don't know about you, but I would love to feel that way every single point in my life, especially because who doesn't want to feel rewarded for their work? Humans are constantly striving for dopamine within both their personal life, their work life, their relationships, and heck, how can I get this with food? You know what I mean? Just to reiterate what we just talked about, while we are in warmer climates and we're on vacation, we tend to eat less because we don't have a need to increase our body temperature, especially when we start eating. Because when we start eating, we go through diet-induced thermogenesis, which not only increases our metabolism, but also increases our body heat. On top of that, we feel a lot less stressed when we are on vacation because we're relaxing, we're in the sun, most likely. And as a result of that, we tend to eat less food because we feel more satiated in ourselves and we tend to feel a lot more happy. And now the point everyone's been waiting for, how we can replicate this in our everyday lives. While some of these methods are science-backed, it's important to think about how these will affect you personally, because not everything will affect people the same way. I just want to give you guys some advice in order to improve your lives, want to eat healthier, and make your body crave healthy foods and live an active, healthier lifestyle, just like those people in Southern California. First and foremost, we have to talk about exercise. Exercise decreases appetite for fatty foods. In one study by Jacqueline de Barros, a group of judo athletes were measured to see how their appetite changed before and after their strenuous, dehydrating workout. It seemed that after their workout, the athletes were craving less fatty foods and more foods that are high in water, such as fruits and vegetables, and high in salt to replenish their electrolytes. The reason I say this is because you can apply this to your own life. Let's say you do an exercise that does make you sweat a lot. That will decrease your appetite for more of those unhealthy foods, and it'll make you want to crave something that is lighter. One way you can utilize this strategy is after you work out, let's start ingesting and intaking some healthier foods. Not only will this help you with your hunger long term because you have replenished your body with the nutrients that it needs, but instead of craving that junk food, craving that chicken sandwich from Chick-fil-A that's literally right next door, you're nourishing your body. The second way you can get back into this vacational state of eating and food intake is by eating a more caloric dense breakfast. As we talked about before, diet-induced thermogenesis is actually higher when you first wake up in the morning after you eat breakfast. And this is because your glucose and insulin levels are spiked again once you've been fasting for 7 to 8 hours. In contrast, it was shown that those who ate a less caloric breakfast in the morning felt more signs of hunger later in the day, and they were craving more sweets in the day rather than those who ate a more caloric dense and bigger breakfast. Eating that bigger breakfast, front loading your calories in the beginning of the day, no matter what type it is, you can get a sweet breakfast if you want. It will help you reduce your appetite for sugary foods later in the day. And finally, what we talked about before, one way that you can reduce your craving for food, your want for food, your quote unquote appetite, which is not your hunger, because you still have to eat the same amount of food. You have to make sure that you're living. But to decrease your appetite for those types of food that you just don't want, you gotta reduce your stress. One way you can reduce your stress is by reaching out to friends and family. Just last night, I got off the phone with my friend. I haven't talked to her in literal ages, but it was so nice to catch up. I had this sense of fullness about me. I felt that from there on out, I could take on the world. It put me in a state of relaxation, and I immediately fell asleep. You wanna get in that state of relaxation. You wanna make sure that your reward mechanisms in your brain, again, especially for food, are still activated so you can enjoy not only the activities that you're doing, but also the food that you intake. Another way that you can reduce your stress is by meditating. I think one of the biggest benefits to meditating in general is it makes you more present. Usually when I am clear of mind, I have more energy and I have more drive to get the stuff that I want to get done. Whether that be schoolwork, whether that be my passion projects, whether that be dedicating more time to travel. I feel like I can enjoy life more when I'm just present and I'm relaxed. Overall, there are reasons we tend to eat healthier when we're on vacation than we're in our everyday lives. Hopefully, I also give you guys some strategies to replicate this so that you can continue to lead amazing, healthy lifestyles and transform your lives. Well, if you like this podcast, if you like this video, please give me a big thumbs up, maybe a 5 out of 5 star rating as well. And also leave any of your reviews. Any and all reviews would be fantastic. I want to hear more from you guys, and I hope to post more soon. So thank you so much for listening, for your attention. I really do appreciate it, especially in this time when attention is pretty low. You guys are amazing, and I hope to hear from you soon.